Over the last 2 nights, we've examined the fallout from construction on the Gardiner.
There's undeniable cost to the congestion on both drivers and businesses. But with 3 lanes of shutdowns for 3 years, it's only just begun.
In the final report of our series on Gardiner Gridlock, CTV's Natalie Johnson asked what more can be done to alleviate the impact.
It's 6:20 p.m. on a Thursday, and Fez Barbuya is leaving his Canary District job to head home to Burlington. A commute that's gone from bad to worse since the Gardiner went down to 2 lanes in each direction between Dufferin and Strawn. A 30% cut to capacity for rehabilitation work.
It used to take me about an hour and 15 minutes to get home. Right now that has up to 1 hour 45 or 2 hours.
2 hours times 2 times a day spent sitting in traffic, even though Barbuya has extended his hours at the office, working unpaid overtime to avoid the peak of rush hour.
I am the one having to make all the adjustments. I am the one having to pay for additional fuel. I am the one having to spend more time on the road.
Trying to get on the Gardiner from the closest on-ramp can be a nightmare, and he finds it faster to first go north to get onto the DVP before turning back south to access the Gardiner from the Parkway. It takes 18 minutes to get onto the expressway, where he soon slows to a crawl. The stop and start all the way west, backed up by the bottleneck even before he hits Yonge Street.
What is frustrating for me is in the morning when I'm coming in and the lanes that are shut down, nobody's working there. Same thing in the evening. Thousands of people were together in this, and I look over and not a soul working on these sections.
I think they should have looked at extended hours of construction. I think that's critical. I mean, we've seen it in other cities. As I say, this is a 3-year project. I think I've heard some people say it's going to take 3 years to do a 1-year project.
The city says the primary construction hours on this project are 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Saturday, with occasional work on Sundays and overnight. Staff say noise complaints during the construction of the previous section between Jarvis and Sherry was a factor in the decision.
When pressed about how often overnight work takes place, the city said currently the contractor undertakes overnight work as and when needed, including tasks that are quieter or depend on specific conditions.
Too often it's equipment sitting on the side of the road with a bunch of pylons around it.
Toronto Councillor Brad Bradford calling on the city to speed up the schedule.
We need to push harder on the 24/7 construction. I want that construction equipment working around the clock to make sure that we can get this done as quickly as possible. It doesn't need to be a 3-year project. It needs to be done faster.
There are strategies to accelerate construction.
The director of U of T's Infrastructure Institute says the challenge with expediting the work is that it doesn't come cheap.
You can go 24 hours a day. You can do off-site construction for certain types of projects. That's been used in other jurisdictions. But there's also a trade-off between time and cost. And the city's also facing a huge budgetary challenge. So how they go about doing things to try to speed these projects up that have costs, then we're always weighing that.
Contractor crews tell CTV News that more nearby real estate would be needed to house any prefabricated pieces. Timing the work around the 2026 FIFA World Cup, when all lanes will be temporarily reopened, complicates the construction schedule.
We are bringing in experts to look at ways on how we could rebuild it faster. We are hoping to speed up the construction as much as we can.
Toronto's mayor stresses that even when it looks like the lanes are sitting empty, work is often being done out of view underneath the expressway.
I know the disruption that it has caused as I travel on it every single day, so we are committed to doing anything and everything to help support the increased timelines on getting that completed.
One thing the city could do is that they could time the lights differently, because sometimes waiting at a red light, there's no traffic going in the opposite direction.
The city says it has retimed 60 traffic signals in the area and is also considering deploying more traffic agents in strategic spots.
Certainly from my perspective, we're doing everything we can from a traffic management perspective to keep traffic moving as fluidly as we could.
Many drivers, though, argue this feels far from fluid.
It's like our biggest disaster. 3 years is a long time.
As for Fez Barbuya, even leaving downtown after the height of rush hour put him home at nearly 8 p.m., only to get up extra early again the next morning to do it all again with everybody else.
It's 200,000 lives on a daily basis, and that's just the direct people that we're talking about. What about the impact on their families? I'm just simply absolutely exhausted from the drive.
Not grinning and barely bearing the Gardiner Gridlock. on an expressway. That is anything but. Natalie Johnson, CTV News.